I'm Isyander.
And I'm Coda.
And today we're going right back to school.
Yeah, the school season is starting, isn't it?
Yes, but also it's like Schola Progenia time with faces and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, I won't lie. I put my thumb on the scale a little hard because the moment I said make Coda sad, servitors rallied so aggressively. I'm not joking. It was a
upsetting,
massive change.
But I get it.
Overnight.
Sure.
But it wasn't enough, and they're going to wind up in the losers bracket. Spoiler alert, they will probably wash everything. No, there's a Space Marine chapter in there. So they probably...
Which one?
It's the Crimson Fists.
The Crimson Chins?
No, Fists.
Okay.
Fists. So
We
will see what happens when we get to the losers bracket. That is fine. It is time for new options. It's a new poll, because we got 3. One's gone off into the void, and these ones are fun. I genuinely have no idea who's going to win.
Genuinely? No.
None whatsoever.
No idea.
Nope. The options by popular demand, and these are some of the most requested ones, are Saint Celestine, Commissars, Vashtor, and something we haven't covered, but we definitely should cover generally, Space Marine Legions.
Space Marine Legions?
This falls into the category of stuff that I've kind of been really bad about covering, which is the general surroundings for the setting. And so, like, we always mention the Space Marine Legions. Oh, like, you know, like this Legion did this Legion did that, but we don't really ever cover what the hell a Legion is and what that really entails, because there's a lot that goes in there. It's not just Space Marines. There's a lot of support that goes into it. It's not like, it's like saying, oh, that's our artillery unit. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
There's so much.
It's not just the big gun.
It's not even fair. It's closer to saying that's the U.S. Navy.
Oh.
And it's like, whoa, time out. What do you mean by that? There's a lot going on in the Navy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you're just glossing over here. You're just mentioning the boats and the fact that they launch planes off of boats. Come on, let's get more specific here.
In the Navy.
And so Legions have been getting a lot of requests for, and also because they have a lot of culture. Like, I really do like the weird Space Marine cultures and traditions. So those are your 4 options. 3 make it. 1 goes into the losers bracket with the servitors and the Crimson Fists. You sound off in the comments.
I was gonna say. Speaking of military culture, I don't have it here. It is still at my home because I forgot to bring it here. But somebody sent us to our PO box a Army Rangers handbook.
No shot.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And also something else that you're going to love.
Okay, that person has put his thumb on the scale. You will be getting an episode
somebody
at some
else.
point.
Yeah. There's the Army Rangers handbook that was sent by someone, and then something else that was sent by someone else that you're going to
I'm going
enjoy.
to be doing an Imperial Infantryman's episode, and that just put together and side by side, because I would love that. You guys are awesome. That's fantastic. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Shoot, that assassinated me. Now I'm excited for that a bit too much. And so we need to cover to call it Commissar School isn't accurate. There's more to it than that.
It's not just Commissar School?
No. Well, okay, spoiler alert for the Patreon episode. We will be covering a lot of Commissars. For those of you not on the Patreon, you get access to a bonus episode every single week, Community Day live streams, a bunch of other perks. They just got their own RSS feed, so now they can listen to it anywhere they want.
Yeah, sorry for my digital Ludditism.
It's
I was still trying to figure out how that works.
Access to the Discord, which has a bunch of people. You can find us in there. There's just it's all awesome in there. It's just it is compressed awesome. It's like kind of like a great filter situation, you know. Mm-hmm. And you help us keep the show running.
We just need to figure out how to bottle it.
Help us keep the show running and keep all these various lights on. For those of you already there, thank you very much. For those of you signing up as I speak by clicking that link down below, thank you as well. Now, let's get into education. The thrilling topic of... I would say this is like the Department of Education for the Imperium.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of so you know there's we're gonna use the US here for an example because it's super duper easy. There's federal.
We're here.
Well, no, this works really, really well as an example most people will understand, even if you don't know how US law works. So we have the states and then we have the country itself. And federal and local, right? And so on a federal level, a lot of big stuff happens, like taxes and war. Terrifying and huge things. On the local stuff, you get speed limits.
and
taxes.
And also taxes.
And also
sometimes.
taxes, because, death and taxes are the two inevitabilities, right? The local ones answer to the higher up government, right? Like, they cannot say, like, tomorrow Nevada couldn't say, we're a state, and as a state we're saying you can no longer pay your federal taxes. Yippee-ki-yay. No, you can't do that, right? They can choose not to have their own taxes, but other than that, they can't really spit in the eye of the federal government, and vice versa.
No.
Yeah, and so it's the same thing in the Imperium. You have, like, the worlds, which are the states in this example, and then the Imperium of man. Mm-hmm. And so worlds have their own basic education. They have their own education department, like whatever that planet needs. So, for example, if it's a really, really, really fertile planet, like the whole thing is just verdant, and it's used to grow all kinds of food, and that's its main thing, they're probably going to alter their education system to focus more on that, kind of putting out the best kind of farmer. There's going to be a real focus on the specific seasons of this world, the plants we can grow, what's expected of us, heaven forbid you see a space marine, this is how you stop him from stomping on your plants, that kind of stuff. Very, very specific, but the moment he's moved from that planet, he's utterly useless.
Because he's too specialized.
But that typically he shouldn't leave that planet, and that's kind of how most education is set up. It's pretty... For your average Imperial peasant, it's kind of like a trades situation. It's very trades or STEM. Those are your options.
Yeah, depending on what kind of planet you come from.
There's no left-handed puppetry allowed here. There could be theater worlds. Just entertainment's a thing.
I mean, this isn't...
Somebody's got to do the propaganda.
This isn't a universe without entertainment. I mean, the Blood Angels are doing art, and the Emperor's Children used to do art, and now they do a different kind of art.
It's terrifying.
But it's terrifying, and we can't talk about it outside of Patreon.
Yeah, pretty... It's terrible. But for the most part, that is the life and times of your average Imperial peasant. Maybe you'll have to pick up a lasgun. Maybe. But you will realistically never make it to officer.
No.
Because realistically, you'll either never see war, you'll be too busy planting potatoes, because the Imperium's so big that honestly, you could. It's unlikely, but you could. Or you will just be a basic guardsman who has, it's an exaggeration, but 15 hours of expected lifespan. We're not going to bother teaching you. Now,
it's really weird how it's a very bimodal spectrum, but it's very like you're either one or the other.
Yeah.
You're either dying in 13 hours or you are so bored.
This is not like the U.S. military where you can be like, you can have a career in the army if you wanted. People do. I know people who are in and are making pretty decent money now, and they have a whole path ahead of them, and they like it, so good for them, In some cases, you're pretty capped unless you prove to be exemplary, or your family just has a history of being that guy. You know what I mean? Like, well, that guy's related to Yarick, and geez, we haven't seen anything like Yarick in forever, so let's give his kid a shot.
Yeah.
It's that situation. It depends planet by planet. Some planets are, well, that guy passed his SAT with flying colors. Of course, you're going to send him up to school. And then others are, he killed the biggest orc. Send him over. Others are,
he's obviously talented.
Others, he didn't freeze to death. That one kept shooting while the planet fell. Like each planet has its own way of recommending you, but typically it is you have to either come from somebody who is important or prove yourself to be important. Only after you do that do your kids stand any chance to be put into the federal education system, the Imperium of man's education system, the Schola Progenia. Now, to get into the school, how grueling do you think it is?
I assume it's pretty grueling. These are like the general commanders of the...
They're all very important, yeah. Once you leave, you tend to be pretty...
They're pretty big figures, and looking at some of the commissars that I have heard about or interacted with so far, they're not the paper mache that
they're not
normal...
chaff, they're wheat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? No, it's actually very easy.
What?
No 1001 trials, no being genetic freaks of nature. You just have to be born into an officer, or somebody who makes it to an officer by either, being part of an officer's bloodline or being important enough to become an officer, and then they just have to die in service. That's it. It's so, which by the way, for the Imperium of Man is so easy. It could be the wars, the overwork, getting lost in the void, eaten by bugs, ripped in half by an orc. Sometimes a commissar will walk into the middle of your family having dinner and realize that kid is scary good at math. Why have you been keeping him from us? And then kill you. You died in service. And now your kid's an orphan. Congratulations, he gets to go to school.
Cool.
That's a real thing, by the way.
I wouldn't call that scarily easy. I'd assume the childhood trauma of watching your parents die in front of you and then being taken to school, I'd call that grueling.
Yeah, except their minds are wiped clean.
Ethical quandaries.
It's the Imperium. You are just taken in, and you. I actually really like this. The only way to flunk out of this school once you're accepted in is to fail to disobey. Like that.
What do you mean?
They regularly say pain is an illusion, and the only way to fail is to disobey.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's there's this quote in there that that describes it as death is not failure, for even death can bring glory. Fear is not failure, because you can conquer your fears. The only known failure is to ignore orders.
Because you are a cog in this huge, massive machine.
Even slight hesitation brings an ignoble end.
Well, listen, if one of your gears in your engine seizes for half a second, the entire system goes.
And honestly, up until the very end there, not the worst way to think about things. You know, it's salvageable. Even if you die, you can still die respectable. You can fail in the process, but guess what? Trying anything requires failures, so that won't end anything. Even if you're scared, you can overcome the fear eventually. Mm-hmm. It's just because it's the Imperium. They got to wrap it up in an evil bow at the very end there and go, well, follow orders or die. Yeah, I can't speak to the last one, which is just disobey my orders or die. That one's a bit... There's no salvaging that.
They've got the obey designer line just stock for everybody, except it's just got the Emperor's face doing the big brother face.
Yeah. They tend to arrive in groups because tragedy in the Imperium is usually spectacular. So it's never like, oh, here's one kid who made it. It's like a planet worth of kids. It's like, well, there goes Cadia. And they had kids on there. Okay, no, that's fine. That is fine. They're screened for any plagues. You know, they could come with diseases. They could come with gene stealers on them. So you really kind of don't want that. And they're kids, and kids are notoriously terrible about Well, they'll communicate, hey, I hurt, but
not like...
oh, brother, it's like pulling teeth trying to figure out what's happening there.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And so a lot of screening goes before they're put into training. And from there, you are just kind of wiped slate. Like, you are turned into a slate for them to build on. There is no homeworld you came from. You don't have any individuality. You're all given the same haircut, the same gear, the same uniform. All your personal effects are taken away and burned. You don't even keep your name, by the way. You're given a new one that is chosen from a long list of Imperial heroes. Because of course, and like they fully strip you down and remold you into whatever they need you to be.
They take you down to a satisfactory foundation. You are now a 4x4x4 block. Yes.
The only exception is siblings, because it's nice to have a set of brothers or a set of sisters competing. Because if you've had a sibling, you know, man, do you go the extra mile so they don't win? Man, will you go that extra mile so they don't win? Every time, without fail. So it's helpful in military. So they'll keep that at least. But other than that, no.
You have no name. You have no self desires of self.
Yep.
You are now blank slate, and we will mold you to what we need.
Not yet. That's after you sit on the correction throne.
The what?
Where you are flooded with neurochemicals and clockworked oranged.
Cool.
Yep, and
is this
I am not joking.
The cursed version of the Hogwarts sorting hat?
No, I'm not joking. Your mind is all the synapses are cleared of memory, and there are just servo skulls floating all over the place, playing back righteous speeches, war cries, inspiring quotes, litanies, speeches from the Primarchs, the Emperor's own word. Like,
they hit you with the shroom therapy treatment?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yup. And then from there, your life is work.
There is no work-life balance. It's just work.
Yeah, it has to be. You, with the most brutal correction available, you are either praying, you are either fasting, you are either thinking, or you are training. Those are your options. Boys and girls are kept strictly separate because we are not dealing with this again. Not after Goj Vandar and the whole Reign of Blood thing. Like, it got... I kept it clean for YouTube's sake. He got this close to Slanesh. Goj Vandar was in charge, and basically under his rule, the church took over everything. And he got real weird.
Ew.
And he got really weird. The sisters' first names were the brides of the emperor, so that tells you what was happening then. Yeah, it's not great.
No, not really great. Not good.
Everyone there is required to read, which is not like Imperial standard, because again, you're a potato farmer. You can read these spuds.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, the only thing you should need to be able to read is the instruction manual for your tractor.
Can you read the bucket? Can you read the faucet? Can you read the sun? And can you read the spud? If yes, congratulations, you're a potato farmer.
You're a potato farmer.
I am vastly oversimplifying, of course. Because I know there's going to be one potato farmer watching who will give me the thorough breakdown of the intricacies of potato farming, of which I'm sure there are many.
Farming is not like as simple an art as people make it out to be. It is complex.
Trust me, I would love to have massive space, just massive swath of land and farm it. And it seems like fun, truly it does. But also recognize it is thankless work. It is brutal, it is thankless, and I think it is a job with the highest rate of maiming. That's a known statistic.
Look at all the equipment things.
Easily top 5.
Some of that just looks like torture
It may not be the LeBron of maiming, but it's up there. Actually, it may not be the MJ of maiming, but it's probably the LeBron of maiming, you know? Minimum the Curry of maiming.
The LeBron.
Minimum the Curry of maiming. But yeah, no, they all... He's a ghost. They all get taught how to read, because how are you supposed to know any litanies?
If you can't read them.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much every job here will require you to know your litanies. So, and some of them, like the Administratum, you need to be able to do complex math.
You need to do calculus
without a calculator.
Oh.
Well, they have like old school manual style calculators, but nothing. They don't have Excel. They do not have Excel.
Manual calculators can still do some complex operations, especially with the scale machines get to in 40K. I assume they could probably get some pretty advanced calculations out of that.
Exactly.
Now it's going to be the size of a room, but
yeah, exactly. And we'll get to what their job sites look like later. For now, we need to get to how they're prepared for that job. They obviously learn Imperial history. They learn a little bit of politics. You know, I wouldn't even say enough to be dangerous, just enough to know what the true chain of command looks like. You know, like, oh, this is who I report to. This is who I report to. That's an Inquisitor. That's an Inquisitor. That's an Inquisitor. That's who he reports to. Okay, like, you know, that kind of thing. And then they also contemplate the saints, the various bits of rhetoric, and they also learn pretty good leadership skills, because they will be needed for their jobs.
They are the general leaders of...
Yeah, they do tend to be in higher up positions.
Yeah.
They range from middle managers to just managers. So
yeah.
They're very important. They also need to go through physical training, and a lot of it, because some of them will seek combat. So they need to be good at that. And to make sure they don't fail at that, there are these people known as the Drill Abbots.
The what?
Let me show you an image of a Drill Abbot.
Is this a Gaines priest?
Yes. It is a veteran who has seen many battlefields and made it from this school as well, and he's also a priest, and a very zealous one at that. And their job is to train you to the best of their abilities, because they have actually seen what horrors the Imperium faces, and then on top of that, they have also known every prayer possible and used them to no avail. They know how bad it can get out there, and their goal is to be so strict, so uncompromising, that you would die by their hands before you made it out there.
This is the ultimate test of, like, your strength.
Not even the ultimate test.
Oh.
This is just something passively happening.
Ah, cool.
Like, you don't... These guys are so tough, Lord Inquisitors will shudder thinking about them. Just, oh, God.
I don't miss those part of my academy days.
Yeah. They tend to be pretty charismatic. It is always shuddering, but they do tend to also earn the respect of their students in a, wow, I see what you're preparing me for kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you weren't the worst thing that could happen to me. I get where like when a teacher's really, really hard on you.
Kind of like a Mr. Miyagi situation where it's just like, yeah, listen, you are tough on me, but I get why. You're talented. There's a reason for this. Was Mr. Miyagi tough,
or was he just making him do his chores until he realized this is kung fu?
I think it was a little bit of both.
It
was more like he was teaching him discipline through applied theory.
Yeah. These guys are very tough love kind of a situation. It's the teacher who always seemed to pick on you. It's your dad holding you to way too high of a standard until you get it. Eventually, by meeting the challenge they seem to be preparing you for.
And go, I see.
Mm-hmm. They truly, they're not, let me be clear, they're not sadistic. They don't take any joy in this. They purely see this as a necessary job. You're going to be in charge of millions of people, possibly. And I know what Tyranids are. So...
I've seen them. I've stared them down.
Exactly.
Many teeth.
So if you can't hold yourself, I'm trying to sneak into the sister's bunk bed, you're about to catch this hammer. You're about to catch it. I can't stress this enough. You will wind up with a shattered spine if you try soaking. They will murk you. They are vicious.
Did we have to bring up soaking in an episode of this podcast?
For the Mormons out there. Yeah. And for the Mormon adjacent.
Okay.
Yeah, they do not play. Cool. They are it is so funny because Inquisitors will sometimes come back and recruit them because you're genuinely good at your job, man. Like, yes, you taught me calculus. You broke 3 fingers in the process. But I can now do it in my head. So I see why you broke my fingers.
I need you for this talent of yours.
And so sometimes they will be like hired by Inquisitors to join their retinue. And it's always so funny because they are very used to not being questioned. And so they will treat real grown men like that and be like, why are you not listening? Catch this hammer. And the Inquisitor has to go, whoa. Okay, that's a man. That's a grown man. He pays his taxes and he's not been indoctrinated. We can't do that.
Just let him be.
And so often, like, it's kind of like an old dog, new trick situation. They'll do the job, but then they'll be like, I want to go back. That's a gig I loved. I get to ensure that the Imperium stays safe while also preparing these kids for the harsh future that
the real threats that we face.
Yeah. The direct quote is, they're often surprised when their commands are not met with cowering obedience.
You bring up like one point of difference in their plan, just like, maybe we could be a little bit more like optimized here, and it just immediately goes for their hammer.
Yeah. By the way, I said they would shatter your spine if they caught you doing anything. They will then mount it. Like in this hypothetical situation where you snuck in to try and soak and you got the hammer, it would then be mounted over that dorm room. Like as the door decoration.
Just as a memory, do not do this.
Your mold spine. Yeah.
Grim.
As a warning. So everyone walks by and goes, I'm going to just go to my room. I
don't need this. I don't need this.
I do not need this smoke. It cannot be worth it.
It's not worth it.
There's a time when a whole year rose up. It kind of like insurrection's not the right word here, but also it's not like the typical teenage unruliness. I'm talking like, I suppose it could have been the typical teenage unruliness, like tagging buildings, saying, no, you're not going to make me do that, loser, right? Like, this is far funnier to think of it that way. Yeah, like typical, absolutely insufferable skater teenager. Just, you know what I mean?
A rebellious phase.
Yeah, like fully rebellious. It's not a phase, Dad, as you tag your name on that tree. Like, come on, dude.
Very badly, too.
Or that level of stuff. And this is all because the mind-wiping chemicals they used didn't work appropriately. And so their solution was to mash them all into a fine paste and use them to line the walls of that school.
Oh, cool.
And so nowadays, when you're going to class, you will occasionally have like trapped bodies reaching out. You just walk in a trig. Your locker handle could be some guy's hand.
Cool. Cool. Wow. Do they have like the like one specific like, oh, this is the leader of this this teenage rebellion, and like every university like you have the long running tradition of like, I don't know, like tapping the toe of a copper statue.
It's yes, it's kind of like how, you know, the way schools have that kind of insufferable policy where I don't care who started the fight, both of you are in trouble. It's kind of like, I don't care who started the fight, both of you are getting a 10-ton anvil, and all of you spectating are getting a 10-ton anvil.
Oh, amazing.
And then we're going to put a nice little red spot here so everyone walking towards calc can remember that. And so if you see a fight, just don't spectate it, loser.
No, just leave.
Yeah, just leave.
Witnessing rebellion is rebellion in and of itself.
You didn't do your best to stop it.
Yeah.
And also...
Complacence is complicity.
If you are just kind of hard-headed and stubborn, and you just are the type of personality matrix where you can't really conform easily, you will just be released into the training ground as an exercise for the other cadets to hunt you down.
You are the target now. Congratulations.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of this game Evolve? Yeah.
Yep, you are doing that now. And to be fair, this is good training for the cadets because this is a peer and they're pretty good at their job. So there's a good chance they may get you. Like, they're not incompetent, they're just kind of stubborn.
Yeah.
Which is not helpful in this situation. A key thing these abbots are doing also is they're carefully observing the students. Like I said, they do like their jobs. And so while they're punishing you with said mallet, they're also trying to figure out what you're best at, you know? Like maybe said Inquisitor with 3 fingers broken from calc, which, God, can you tell I'm getting ready for a calc class and I'm not excited for it.
It'll be fine.
I'm so... I'm not asking for a math tutor. I'm just heavily implying it right now. Yeah, so said Inquisitor, who doesn't exist but does for the sake of the story, with 3 fingers broken in calc, the abbot who broke said fingers would look at him and go, well, he doesn't have great track times. And God, he sucks at math, but man, is he sketchy. Man, does he have potential. And so they will keep this in mind as you go through your education, and then you get to this point where this is the sorting hat portion where it's like the trials of compliance, which is just, what are you good at? And typically they'll nudge you like, hey, you know, you should try out for the Inquisitor thing. This
is the point in high school where they give you like the career test.
Yeah, and again, it could be that you can't, sometimes you need to get a third person perspective. You can't see yourself, you know? It's the whole, how can you see your reflection in a boiling pot of water? When you're a kid, there's so much going on. There's so much anxiety. There's so much angst. There's so much just flooding your head. You can't see yourself clearly. Shoot, grown adults still have that sometimes.
I mean, it does take until like 25, 26 for some people to like fully coagulate the brain.
Study's a myth, by the way.
Really?
Yep. They just ran out of funding at 25. They could have kept studying it, and I promise you now, the brain probably would have continued developing. It's just your frontal lobe gets better. That's about it. But it doesn't stop.
I mean, I guess life is an endless game of one step forward, one step forward, one step forward.
That's the problem with pop science, is they say, your brain stops at 25, give up and start drinking. It's like, it doesn't. They just ran out of funding at 25.
I didn't mean.
I know, but that's just how it's typically phrased. I know, not you.
No, I take this as a, like, listen, you're going to make stupid decisions, and that's going to be fine. Like, just, eventually there will come a point where it's just like, oh, I need to stop making stupid decisions.
Well, they're not there yet. The abbots are just helping them kind of go in this direction, you know? And so they'll also tweak their tests. If they think this guy would be very good at being a commissar, despite the fact that that person may not think it, that person may be horrifically anxious when it comes to public speaking, right? But the drill abbot noticed, my goodness, you're willing to kick a teammate in the head to win this game. That is impressive.
And so he gave him the deserter shooting test?
It's not even the deserter shooting test. It will be your own fellow classmate you've been going through the school with.
Just
Someone you know.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're like friendly with them?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Doubly so if you're friendly with them. You have to be willing to. It's not like guardsmen are unlikable. They're people. You can bond with them. You also need to be willing to shoot them if you're a commissar.
Because if they ever even show signs of deserting.
Mm-hmm. And if you fail the test, well, you'll probably die. But if you don't die, you will either... You can fail a test and survive. You basically become a janitor. You become a staffer at the Schola. And maybe, just maybe, you could make it back into being a guardsman. Maybe.
But it's a long shot.
Typically, you'll just die, though.
It's a long shot.
Typically, you'll just die.
Yeah.
After the test, you go through selection day, the real big sorting hat. And this is where the Drill Abbots announce your service in whatever role suits you best. And then you're shipped off for that education, which is kind of college, kind of not.
This is, grad school.
Yeah.
You're specializing.
Yeah, the smarter ones, the ones who didn't get their fingers broken in calc, go off to the Administratum. And they are just bureaucrats. Those who are more martially minded become the Schola Tempestus. Or they go to the Schola Tempestus to become Tempestus Scions. They're fun. Oh, they're so much fun.
Are they just the grand strategists of...
SWAT.
No.
Sorry, SWAT. It's like the Green Berets.
Ah.
It's a different level.
Super SWAT.
Turbo SWAT.
Turbo SWAT.
Yes, it is like... we'll get to them later. It's the kind of thing where... there's a story about Delta Force where they were describing what education to be in Delta Force looked like, and it was, what is your mission? You can go to college for that. And so, for example, if you needed to, I don't know, blend in at a nuclear facility, you could go just become a nuclear physicist.
And
yeah,
that'd just
part of the mission. It'll help you fit in.
Education.
Yep, it'll help you fit in. And so you have multiple Delta Force members who are very, very highly educated in just jarring disciplines. And it's like, when did you have time to do all of this? In between toppling stuff. Whenever I found the time. And like, I can't lie, it's kind of cool. It's kind of tough. Now, I don't even think they're still a thing anymore. And if they are, super turbo classified. So
yeah, we wouldn't know anything.
I wouldn't know. And again, let me stress this enough. I like my FBI agent.
Please don't tell us.
My FBI/CIA agent, who's very cool and probably handsome if he's watching this. He or she, I don't know. I don't want them showing up, though. You know, I like a relationship where he watches me and I don't know about him. So if you know something you should know but shouldn't tell anyone, just keep that to yourself. I don't need to know.
I was told, I think this was the guy who sent us the Army Ranger handbook, that it is not... classified. We're not going to get we're not going to get War Thundered for this. And he phrased it specifically, technically you paid for it, so it is yours.
Oh yeah, taxes. I pay taxes. Yeah, so I believe it, but man, oh man, I have a very good relationship with the suits in my life, i.e. I don't know they exist. And I want to keep it that way.
Yeah,
you know? That's the best kind of relationship.
They're listening through these microphones at the same time you are, but they're probably getting like the early show. They're getting the live show.
Probably. But that's for the Tempestus. We'll get to them later. The ones who show discipline and leadership skills will end up to be commissars, which you already know what that whole thing is.
Yeah.
Any female cadets who show just stunning levels of combat proficiency, as well as being very faithful, will be shipped off to be Sisters of Battle, because...
Of course.
And psykers who are discovered typically just die. If they somehow don't, they will be handed off to the Adepta Sororitas for evaluation, where they have an even lower survival rate.
A lower survival rate than just die?
Mm-hmm.
Concerning.
Yep, and then in some very, very rare instances, a stranger will be watching the selection day, and then a student will just disappear.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. Don't think about it too much. On a completely unrelated note, the absolute best of the best have a slim chance to be handpicked to serve as an acolyte to the Inquisition.
And become Inquisitors at some point, I assume?
Maybe.
As long as they don't get washed out.
Becoming an Inquisitor, we covered this in the whole episode. It's a thing. You need like 2 recommendations from other Inquisitors. Mm-hmm. So it's not a guarantee. It's just you are on the path where this is a possibility.
Okay.
Yep. First up are the bureaucrats, and it's Hermes Conrad. This is actually Hermes Conrad's job. It is you are a cog in a machine that kind of just keeps churning out cogs for the machine, that keeps churning out cogs for the machine. Your job is to levy taxes and double check taxes, assembling battle groups, sending shipments. You are the logistical backbone of the Imperium, and if you screw up, billions die.
Yeah.
Yes.
If one shipment does not make it on time, it's an entire sector does not have food for the next month.
The best way to describe the vibe of the Administratum at times is I love Civ quotes because they're so much fun. They're so much fun. And Sean Bean has been doing a great job.
Dude, Sean Bean has done a great job as the narrator for Civ 6.
Oh, yes.
The one problem, the one role where he doesn't die.
Yeah, technically. But anyway.
Unless Civ 6 releases the, like,
we killed Sean Bean.
end game DLC where you get to shoot the narrator with a nuke.
No, but the one from Civ 4 is the bureaucracy is expanding to meet the needs of the expanding bureaucracy.
God.
And that
what a quote.
That is the Administratum.
What
just
a quote.
Pencil pushers hiring pencil pushers to help hire pencil pushers to help hire pencil pushers. And it's like, why do we need all of these pencil pushers?
To assist the pencil pushers, obviously.
Exactly. And it's just brutal. But also the Imperium is a million worlds with trillions of people.
You do kind of need all of that logistics work done.
Like, listen. Gilliman's impressive. Yippee-ki-yay, you know. Ultramar, the 500 worlds perfectly ran and done by one demigod effectively. That's 0.05 of the Imperium.
Yeah, you don't have an Ultramar level organized sector for everywhere.
Gilliman's trying. He's taking up smoking over it. So the Administratum clearly does serve a purpose somewhere in all that paperwork, but it's hard to discern where it actually is.
Where does the bureaucracy start and where does it end?
And I do really love logistics because the things that we take for granted on a daily basis, and then you just think about, how did this even get here? You know what I mean? Like I always use the map of everything happening in the first couple of hours of Desert Storm.
Oh no, I was just going to mention. I saw like, I didn't read the full article, but I saw like a news headline recently of some dude making a Whopper from scratch, including raising the cows and growing the wheat for this burger. And it took him like, I think it was like 114 days of like 8-hour work days to create one Whopper.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
and meanwhile, you can kind of just go to a Wendy's. Wait,
you just pick one up.
Is that a Wendy's?
No, it's Burger King.
Oh, whoops.
BK.
Have it your way. I don't know my fast foods, but yeah. Anyway, the logistical might behind just doing anything nowadays.
I mean, back in the day when people would just line up and march at each other until more of them are dead than more of you, and it sounds so cartoonishly stupid. But man, World War I is so funny in that regard.
Listen, Revolutionary War, or at least that era tactics compared to modern military tactics.
No, but even then, they still, like, in World War I, Germany had an army of 3.8 million people that they then had to march somewhere. And it was something like, by the time the people in the back of the line started marching, the front of the line had moved 20 miles.
Were they marching single file?
Line up, get there, kill them. Oh, we've come so far. But
for a small battle group, marching single file makes. You can tell I flipped through the Army Rangers handbook. Marching single file and far enough apart that one shot will not take out more than two of you.
Okay, now it wasn't a single line effectively, but it was still 3.8 million people had to get somewhere. And they managed it through a lot of logistical effort. And by the way, they're getting sabotaged all the time. These people need to be fed. These people need to be clothed when they get there. Like, this is a lot of effort to have them stand in a trench and then pretty much immediately die.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot.
God, World War One is so
World War
obscene.
One is, dude, World War One, it reminds me of Chinese history, where it'll be like, X dynasty shattered, 50 million dead, new noodle recipe. And then we reforged a couple years later. Like, it's that tier of just callous death. Just, so if I remember correctly, World War One, like, they wanted it to end at a specific time, so it went on for 8 more hours than it needed to. Thousands died just for the symbolism.
We could end on, like,
we could end on a good time.
Yeah.
I think it was like 11/11 on 11/11.
Yeah.
And I say that as an 11/11 baby. That's stupid.
Congratulations.
Born at 11/11.
Really?
No joke.
Wow.
Birth certificate and everything.
You were an armistice baby.
Woo star girls have told me I'm an angel baby, so.
You're an armistice baby.
I think I prefer the angel one because armistice is just not. I don't want to be an armistice baby. But World War One is so funny because, yes, all of this logistical might would be taken in to move all these people to the front line and then blow mustard gas in that direction. Oh God, the wind changed.
It's coming right for us.
And it's like, well, that's why you needed 3.8 million people.
At that point, you're not even doing logistics. You're just
No, it's logistics.
You're throwing a rock at the problem.
You still have to feed them, you have to clothe them, and they have to get there. That's a lot of mental effort.
It is a very hungry rock.
Yeah, and then you consider that the Imperium has to do this level of just mass mobility, and, oh yeah, they could arrive 5 years late, or 5 years early.
Or just not at all.
Or not at all, just unknown.
Or insane.
And you see why the Administratum has bloated so much.
Because you need, like, logistical backups for your logistical backups.
The Imperium scale of war really makes anything we've ever done. Like, I joke about Chinese dynasties splitting and taking just so many people with them, but Imperial wars, I think Adeptus Ridiculous put it best when they were like, yes, Armageddon, trillions dead, practice run. Like, Imperial wars are just, it is a meat grinder.
Yeah.
If we can slow down an enemy tank by piling bodies in its treads, we will.
You're the gum in the tank treads of your enemy.
Yep, and these are the people who make sure all of that gum arrives intact. All of it. And then, when they graduate their school, they also have to be pretty modular, because gum can come from any corner of the galaxy. You know? Like, you could have Cadian brand gum, you could have, like, Catachan brand gum, and, like, they all behave a little differently. But the guy organizing it needs to be able to organize it no matter where he's put. It is the bureaucrat school is only concerned with putting out the shiniest of cogs to a specific size, so that we can just slot it here if we need to, and then take it out, and move it over there, and take it out, and move it over there, because they're not really dealing with the minutia, you know?
No.
Like, oh, big whoop, your town is starving. You figure it out. I have 10 planets I'm in charge of. If that city goes out, it's a minor inconvenience.
Somehow I need to manage the taxes from all of you people, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, yes, water pollution, really bad, so scared. You were off 5 cents on your taxes. Like, yeah, you can ignite your water. I don't care. 5 cents. Give it.
Give it
right now.
I have my own superiors. I need to deal with it. Give it.
Mm-hmm. And so that is why their training has to be so intense. You have to be callous enough to do that to someone, and then also be good enough to justify it, because you can't be out there. First of all, tax evasion is so complicated. You have to be such an expert to catch it on a planetary level.
Yeah.
Like, there's
and then you also have to be so callous to either send the tax collector that way, or I'm sure there's no debt forgiveness in the Imperium.
No, there is. Just working it off. It is. I know precisely how much you owe me. Mm-hmm. Get to it.
This is how much your labor costs. Also, I'm charging you at interest, and that interest rate is 500% APR.
And oh wow, would you look at that? You now owe me more than it would cost to get Space Marines here. You won't guess who's arriving. Oh, wow, you got it so far. We can afford to send minotaurs.
Oh, they're so screwed.
Oh, they're so boned.
They're so boned.
Yes, so that is why they must go through so much arithmetic.
Yeah.
And basically, no social studies.
No.
It would make them worse at their jobs, frankly.
Because they would then have empathy.
Mm-hmm. Next up are the Tempestus Scions, and they are just the best of the best. This is arguably the best soldier the Imperium can put out.
Aside from a Space Marine.
That's why I said soldier.
Ah.
Like guard, this is the best the Imperial Guard has to offer. They're the Navy SEALs, they're the Delta Force, they're the Green Beret. Pick whatever special forces you think is best. They are that. They need every skill imaginable because they need to be able to do pretty much anything on the battlefield better than a guardsman, but not as good as a Space Marine.
Well, because of course you'd be stepping on their toes.
No, it's just these guys are cybernetically augmented as well. Mm-hmm. So no, it's not that they'd be stepping on their toes. This is the most a man can do.
I see.
Before we get to, well, he's going to die after this mission, but regardless, or he's just a Space Marine. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things that are higher.
This is the you know that one meme of like a kid standing at two paths, and one leads to a dark and stormy castle and one leads to like a happy flowery rainbow castle. This is you either go Space Marine or what are those?
Eversor.
Yeah, Eversor.
Mm-hmm. There is no other way you can get better. They are trained brutally. They don't have to kill any classmates. They just have to basically win every Olympic trial. That's kind of their, like, they have to climb the walls of the Schola that they went to. And you've seen Imperial buildings.
They're tall.
Yep, and the whole time they're chanting that motto while a servo skull is watching them. Because if they stutter for even a moment, this is now a live fire exercise. I hope you can dodge bullets.
I see.
So, I mean, you could stop chanting, but you better be good at dodging bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have to run through a live fire obstacle course while under every hallucinogen imaginable.
Amazing.
Oh, and there are orders being shouted at you that you must follow. So it's not just an obstacle course. It is jump to the right.
Well, hi.
Yes. And being shot at.
Oh, this is awful.
Yep.
Oh, this is so awful.
Mm-hmm. And these guys are the rare exception where like an Inquisitor could spot an average guardsman who's a little too good and say, that guy should go be a Tempestus Scion. And then he's taken there and he's stuck doing that. You have the Kaiju number 8 situation of the 30-year-old man being outrun by children and having to keep up. And it's just weird and difficult, man.
I'm not supposed to be here at this time in my life.
I'm not supposed to be here in this time of my life. And then once they do pass, they're taken back as a bodyguard for that Inquisitor specifically. They, as with everything here, deserve their own video. They are so cool. They have such good armor.
Yeah.
They have such good armor.
Are they the same League of guy that had the big sun helmet in the...
No. That's different. That's more of a command situation. This is more of like a kill situation. You know? It's a difference between a 4-star general and a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
It's very different jobs.
I get you.
One is allowed to have a gut. One can't.
Yeah.
You know, one gets to read paperwork. One, well, they do get to read paperwork, but like they're far more concerned with what these hands can do. You know, and then when they're done, just maybe. But that's kind of the differentiator here. Both very difficult jobs.
Just taxing different parts of your brain.
Exactly.
Or rather, one taxes your brain, one taxes your guns.
Yeah, exactly.
I say, showing off the most pitiful guns.
You're fine. Next up are the Commissars, and they are just... Part of the job description is just being photogenic. Have you ever seen a Commissar look bad in their portrait?
No.
That's part of the job description. They have to look like the pride of the Imperium itself has arrived here. Like, you have to be... When you arrive, guardsmen have to just go, we've got this. oh, we have got this.
This is the stabilizing agent of the Astra Militarum.
Yes, they are not in the command structure in a typical way. They exist outside it, being able to show up anywhere and just take command if they need to, if you are doing bad, which means they have to be very, 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 very good to be able to justify giving someone the ability to just show up. I'm the captain now, and you have to listen to me. And that is why they are so heavily tested. They're so aggressively tested.
You need to be so general. We need to be able to send you to any battlefield situation.
Yes.
You need to be so generally good at anything we could ever need to send you
and so good at it that everyone around you feels compelled to do the same.
Yeah.
Without you saying a word.
This is not the easy work. This is very, very difficult.
Yes, it is. Again, have you ever even seen a picture of a commissar with a stained coat?
No. They always look good.
They always look good. And I swear they have posing classes. I swear they are mewing in those classrooms. I'm positive. I'm positive.
You see a commissar hitting the...
I'm absolutely certain because they just do not.
Commissars taking mogging classes.
My favorite way to describe the commissars actually comes from Baltimore because he does it. First of all, he's great, but he does a really good job. To paraphrase, if you are to see the Imperium as a body, there's a function for every part, right? The High Lords of Terror are its brain, the Administratum are the nervous system, the Guard are its sinew, its strength, the people, its blood, the Mechanicus is its hands, and the Ecclesiarchy is its soul, right? But the Commissarat of the Ordo Perfectus are its spine.
Everything's riding on this.
And you, come on, dude.
They
are so important. So many battles have been turned by a commissar showing up and being so inspiring you don't think to question him, or being so terrifying you realize I either follow his orders and die or don't and die. I might as well die serving.
I might as well follow the orders. Right. At least I won't be looked on as a heretic and a traitor.
Yeah, and the worst thing about commissars is there is no hypocrisy. They hold themselves to that standard. Truly.
If I break orders, if I break rank, shoot me.
When did I say you can run? Get back to dying. This is a part of my plan. That is the energy they bring.
You being gum is an integral part of my strategy. Now go be gum.
These guys take public speaking classes for sure. They take psych classes so they can read people. They take tactics. They take strategy. They take holy doctrine. They read so much, and it shows if you read almost any except for Kane's books. And even in Kane's books you can get the vibe like he thinks he's stupid,
but he's not really.
But there's quite a few times here I've seen him think a lot harder than most people I've ever met.
He is on such a fundamental level of intelligence that his lowest IQ moment is still higher than most people's average IQ moments.
They have to be competent with most firearms you're going to find on a battlefield. So it's not like they need to be special forces ready. Just, that guy's lasgun fell. I can pick it up and absolutely demolish with it. Or, hey, I've been deployed here. They have the worst trigger discipline I have ever seen and could not hit the side of a barn. Let me show them how this is done. You know, you have to be this paragon of virtue. You can't just say, it is not do as I say, it is do as I do, did, and will.
Which, honestly, impressive.
You can't argue with that.
Like, I can dig trench, I can aim good.
It's the most embarrassing
thing. Need you to do, I will just body you at.
Yes, it's the most, dig that trench. Well, that's shoddy. He rolls up his sleeves, gets down there, and does it better than any of you. And you just have to go,
I can't tell him he's wrong.
You did go to college for this, sure.
Trench digging 151.
Yeah. Their tests are pretty brutal, and a lot of them involve deliberately making them forge a bond with other people and then making them kill them.
Because your loyalty is to the mission, not anybody else here.
Mm-hmm. And then
your best friend is your orders, not Steve.
Exactly. After that, they graduate and they become like Commissar cadets, and they are attached under full Commissar. And so typically we have like a full Commissar standing regal, and then a bunch of little snot-nosed twerps trying their best.
They don't have their full duster coat yet.
Yeah, I'm assuming they have like little ones.
Little ones.
I'm assuming they have little ones. This is so frustrating for active duty guardsmen, because it is the equivalent of, great, the perfect one has arrived, and those kids are washing me.
Those are just teens. What do you mean they're doing better than me?
Yes,
what?
But most guard commanders are like, thank God. Because whenever these cadets show up, they have so much to prove that it's like, whew.
They're just going to make this easy for me.
I borderline don't need to think for as long as they're here. And so they need to stick around as a cadet until they either die in combat or the Commissar commander in charge deems them worthy. So yeah, they really have to be perfect for sometimes years. It can go decades.
Yeah.
And that is why whenever you see a Commissar, it's so rare to see them just not good at their jobs. It's Inquisitor levels of they have to be crazy. They have to be crazy.
They
to
need
be
to
bad
be
at their jobs.
insanely good at the job.
Yeah. Next up are other people who need to be exceptional at their jobs. The sisters.
The Adepta Sororitas.
Yes, they are the reigning champs of pretty much every sport in school. This is my favorite fact, because the sisters. How do I phrase how the sisters play football? It's like if you were to go against a team of all girls, and there's certain gods watching this match. And critically, they know the ref isn't. Yeah.
Huh.
They play for keeps. It is multiple commissars have looked back on their time playing against them and gone,
oh God,
like
embarrassing.
It is not just getting tackled, it is lifted and thrown to the ground. Like they will tombstone you.
You're being suplexed.
Mm-hmm. They play for keeps in everything. And it's also because like devotion is kind of a prerequisite. Mm-hmm. You have to play like God's watching every match, because
all of them are so very religious, every single one of them, that God is watching.
Yep. After they are picked for their just devotion, they're then shipped right off to learn everything about the Imperial faith. Everything. You gotta memorize the Holy Book front to back. All versions too. In all languages. Like you gotta be able to drop scripture in Hebrew at the drop of a dime. Like that level of committed.
Learning the Tau language just to scream Imperial religious texts at them. Not to do any diplomacy. Yeah. Just to scream that as you're shooting them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly correct. They will then kind of get assigned to different orders after they do all of this, because they do get some general training. And with all things to do with sisters, there's a lot of pomp, there's a lot of circumstances to it. Sometimes, like, they do read the list, right? And it's like, oh, you go to this school, because there's the 6-ish schools of being a sister. And as they go name by name, sometimes it's a couple of hours, sometimes it's a couple of days. And you got to sit there.
For the whole thing.
God's watching.
Yeah.
The Emperor's watching.
He would want this pomp and circumstance, even though, would he?
He's watching, and he doesn't blink. So...
He also doesn't speak, though.
Yeah, but he critically does not blink, and that's what matters for today. From there, they go learn power armor, they go learn combat skills, they go learn some basic medic skills here and there just to patch people up. And they do not stop hammering in their faith until the day they can sit by the side of the Emperor.
Which?
When they die.
Yeah.
So that tells you how devoted they are.
They're not giving that up.
If you haven't watched the Sisters episode, you should. It's very good. But
it has a very recognizable thumbnail.
It's a very good thumbnail. Both of them are pretty good, I'd say. I can't stress how just faithful these women are when they leave. Like, they will quasi-regularly parry demons. They kind of keep up with Space Marines sometimes.
It's very funny. I assume it looks the same level of wacky as when you're playing Legend of Zelda and you parry a Lionel doing a full charge at you.
Yep. It is just, woof. Okay, the Emperor's watching. Okay, sure.
Then just perfect parry. Bah,
yeah,
and then
no,
they're
like,
knocked back a little bit.
Sisters drop churches onto battlefields.
While those churches are blasting hymnals at you.
Oh, and pouring out holy water that genuinely is beating back the demons. Like, genuinely, sacred ground is being placed as they walk. Yeah, I'm praying tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I'm praying tomorrow the day any religion manages that.
Well, to be fair.
Or at least I'm switching. Anyway.
I see a demon, and immediately I'm like, oh, shit, somebody was right.
No. Yeah, I suppose it depends on what variant I see. Cause
exactly.
If I see like an Oni, I'm like, oh, wow, I need to learn a lot about a religion I'm not that familiar with.
Tau demons are a lot different from, like, Hindu demons. Hindu demons are a lot more different than the Judeo-Christian demons. Judeo-Christian demons are even different from Judeo-Christian demons.
It depends.
Yeah.
Some like, you have the typical, like, effectively just a guy wearing red latex with horns on, right? To the horrifying large demons that you get. There's this,
the Oni, who are, like... the Oni are a little bit of a gray area because some descriptions of Oni are just kind of just bandits, kind of just guys who are bad.
Yeah, but moving on to psykers.
This is going to get depressing quickly.
Kind of. They have it rough by virtue of demons know that, speaking of demons, they know exactly where they are and want to use you as a portal. And so there is a genuine hazard to just being a rogue psyker, because something could just use you to punch their way in next time you try and light a candle. Or you'll get like some horrible mutation just trying to use your powers.
Just existing as you are nothing but a doorway to demons.
There's actually a table in fantasy that is just all the things that can happen to an unlucky psyker.
Oh, wonderful.
It's kind of like a wild magic table, but it's fantasy, so it's useless.
Do you just need to, like, I don't know, roll d20 and, like, on a specific number you get, like, an odd result?
It's like, have you never seen a wild magic table?
No.
It's almost exactly like that.
Oh.
Where you roll a dice and there is a list of things. Some good, like, hey, cast lightning bolt. Some really bad.
Is this like a passive, like every turn you need to roll this?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends, but yes, there's a long list of genuine reasons why you kind of want to look very closely at the nearest psyker. You know? And then that's before we even mention the fact that according to the letter of the law, you really can't be using them willy-nilly, you know?
Yeah, just because that's a danger. And also they're the warp. They are heresy incarnate. Not exactly heresy. It's like you are not a heretic, you are the doorway to the heretics. You see the problem? I don't know what's going to happen if, like, people I love and trust are, like, stay around you for very long. Yes. Once you're discovered as a psyker, a black ship will arrive, and it's just to imprison you, effectively. It is full of Sisters of Silence who will shut up all your powers, and you'll be moved right to Earth where you will be tested. And in here, you do not have a chance to be any of the roles we mentioned before. You will just get to be a psyker. Maybe, if you're lucky, a Space Marine librarian. That is it. Or like the personal. You could be an Inquisitor, because there's a lot of Inquisitors where they're like, that's a bit warpy there what you did, but okay, sure, why not? Or you'll even be handed over to the Grey Knights. So they're Space Marine psykers. They're all the best trained they're Space Marines squared. So, okay. I mean, it's not terrible. My initial reaction is you're being handed over to the Grey Knights? Oh, you are being subject to the worst of fates. But no, if it's for recruitment, then... Yeah. Their main testing is less to better you and more like, can you control your powers? Can you hold back the roaring tide that is chaos? Yeah, like if you watched last week's episode, it's very good. The warp's a lot.
It's a lot. We barely understand it, and there could be worse than chaos in there. So you need to be a certain breed to really not die to that instantaneously.
Yeah.
And so that's what they really test here. If you fail, this is where the Emperor gets his midnight snacks. You know, those 1,000 psykers sacrificed to the Emperor of mankind. Yeah, this is part of where that 1,000 comes from.
His daily midnight snacks, yeah.
Yeah, this, and then there's some other unfortunate ones. Like, I'm sure occasionally the odd not psyker makes it in by mistake, just by sheer rate of fire. But
yeah.
it's fine. It's okay. And if you do manage to survive all of that and not get turned into lunch, you get sanctioned.
And now you have a big badge on your chest that says, I am allowed to live.
Yes.
So long as I don't accidentally rip open a portal to hell.
A lot of it's kind of like Jedi training, where they look for kids. If you're an adult psyker, so sorry.
Too late.
You're
too
going
late.
to the Emperor,
You're not going
right?
to learn how to control this.
But most of the time. But kids are moldable little things, you know? So it's like, you want them when they're... The Imperium wants to grab them when they're young, because...
a wonderful, careful phrasing.
Oh, fantastic.
Excellent strategy.
Fantastic, I know. And they want them to be able to be molded into whatever they need them to be. Like I said, there's a lot of options here. You could be an Inquisitor, you could be a Grey Knight, you could be a Librarian, you could just die.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be kind of able to flow like water to survive that.
Where am I needed most? Where am I most useful? That way I won't die.
And a lot of this testing is also like power usage, but they have a compound way out in the boons where you can blow up in a building and a demon summoned, and at worst we need a Custodes over this.
And it'll be fine.
Because this is Earth.
No one's going to open a Eye of Terror level threat.
No, that's just not. That requires a lot of things going wrong, so that's where they usually send them. If you manage...
Or a lot of things going very right.
Depends on who you root for. This takes years. This takes a long time, because at the end of it, this is when you get that little badge that says, I get to live. After you go through something called the soul binding, where your soul is bound with a little bit of the Emperor's psychic might. Yeah, no joke. Every sanctioned psyker is a little bit.
Just like a little bit connected to the Emperor?
0.000000001% Emperor.
Oh, cool.
But that also shows how strong man is. Because consider that 0.01 is the thing that, first of all, when you're going through this process, that could kill you.
Of course.
And if it doesn't, you may go insane.
Of course.
And depending on what they're binding your soul for, it can get very specific, very unpleasant. For example, like Astropaths go blind. And I don't mean like, oh, I can't see. I mean like your eyes immolate in your sockets.
Not painful at all.
No, it's
not
okay.
A traumatic experience at all.
Speaking of pain, sometimes you can go through so much pain in the process that you just have permanent nerve damage.
Cool.
You can just lose smell, hearing. It's very, very difficult. However, if you go through it, you become far stronger as a psyker. And critically, you ward off demons. Well, I'm not going to say ward off demons, but demons are less...
You become a problem for them.
Yes.
It's a little bit harder to rip a door out of you.
It is not necessary for very, very strong psychers. Like, for example, Space Marine Librarians kind of can just do it on their own. They're fine, you know? Some Inquisitors kind of can just do it on their own. Grey Knights, if you're a named psyker, you can kind of just do it on your own. But if you're unfortunately not named, or at least you didn't get a last name, you're
kind of hosed.
Yes, unless you are bound with the Emperor's might, because he is like oil to chaos's water, where it'll just, I don't want that. There's a reason they gave him the nickname Anathema. He
is everything opposite to them.
Yes, exactly. And then you get your neat little badge, and you get to go do your job.
Yay!
Which is, it depends on the job. You know, like Astropath choirs, that's got to be a pretty nice one. Because all you have to do is you sit there and you sing across the void, communicating. And so it's pretty... And
it's fine.
I love the descriptions of choirs. Because it really sells the high sci-fi feeling a room full of psychic people, eyes all glowing, singing this hymn that can be heard across the galaxy by another choir, who then relays what that is.
This is how you communicate.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But then, also, there are people who can just cast Fireball, which are very useful to be put on the front lines. So they get to do that.
It's a kind of the juxtaposition between the Dune Bene Gesserit and the just general mage.
Yes. Sometimes the messages get garbled because, Chaos doesn't want them to get there, or they all arrive at once, or they never make it, or they arrive before they were sent, which, good luck deciphering that. Just send troops to the front, dated 2037. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
That's so specific.
I don't know what to do with this exactly. If sometimes you are... It's a how do I phrase this? It's a Goldilocks zone of being so sketchy you stick out, but critically not so sketchy you can become like an Inquisitor. You are definitely the reason why that dorm lost its resident cat, and we're just gonna turn a blind eye to that. But critically, you didn't frame someone for it. You didn't go the extra mile. You just did it for the love of the game, And if that is noticed, somebody will be watching you on selection day. And then you will never be seen or heard from again.
You're just gone.
You are taken to the Officio Assassinorum.
I guessed.
Yep.
I guessed.
They have a whole episode. It's super duper fun, so we're not going to go super duper in depth.
I think we start that video where we are ending right now.
Right here. So if you want a good point to go watch that video, right here is a great point. But for those, just go watch the video. It's great. They go through tons of training. It starts from the moment they're picked up. They're immediately put into just a free-for-all lobby.
The Battle Royale.
Yes. And that's the way they commute to work, is a Battle Royale with gravity turning super duper high, super duper low, super duper cold, super duper hot. Anything you could go through. And here's the thing you must know. This isn't like a Battle Royale or, yay, we have a winner. This is a Battle Royale in the sense of the bus driver's okay showing up with an empty bus.
You're not fighting for a number one victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out.
No, you're fighting
to survive.
Yes. And then after that, you get to go be
I was waiting for you to stop me.
One of the many assassins. There's so many.
And they're all so fun.
They're
Dude,
so
I love
cool.
the Officio Assassinorum.
The only consistency is skin-tight attire. That's it.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I think I might need to go back and change the thumbnail for our Assassinorum video. I really like it because I think it's funny, but I did see at least one comment that was just yeah, I'm not going to watch this video. I have no interest in Assassin's Creed. And I'm like, the video is not about Assassin's Creed, my brother in Christ.
But
it says Assassin's Creed.
But it looks like it.
Yeah.
Possibly. It's still a good one. You should go watch it. That's where the bulk of this one's going to be. It is just so painful. It's so brutal, and they come out very cool. Usually without any memories or personality, but very cool.
I mean, yeah, you are reduced to the man behind the skull, or woman behind the skull mask.
Yeah. Next up are the Inquisitors, and they are... Not every Inquisitor comes from the Schola, but it's a good place to start looking for them. It's better than gambling and to see if you'll find any.
Yeah.
Their training is on an individual basis. It very much so depends on who sees the potential in you.
What is the thing you are best at? How can we use that?
Exactly.
Inquisition.
Yes. And then it's very kind of it's more of the mentor-mentee situation and less of a rigid school. So they kind of just get out and start doing field work almost immediately.
So that one guy who made a firewall of burned worlds to keep the Tyranids out was taught to do that by a mentor.
Yeah, it's the whole Sith rule of two situation.
I see.
And the way how it's
no, I get the exact vibe you're going for.
But just in case you don't, right? It's Palpatine gets an underling, the underling kills Palpatine. Theoretically, he should get his own underling, and that's how it goes. The Inquisitors kind of operate like that, but you don't need to kill your boss to get the job. You just need two other Inquisitors to go, he's pretty neat. And you go, yeah, I am pretty neat.
And then you're now a full Inquisitor, and you can take on your own apprentice.
Yeah, well, I think it's actually 3 Inquisitors who have to do it. It's pretty... And think about it. These are 3 of the most hardened, the most skeptical people in the Imperium, and they have to go...
Yep, he's good.
You are worth having the power to blow up a planet, no questions asked.
Or several. Again,
100. Firewall of dead planets.
Did it keep the Tyranids out?
It did. It actually
At least it was effective.
It's just... Ooh.
Was it worth the billions of lost souls?
Depends on how you weigh them. It was one of the biggest Tyranid tendrils, and what if it ate all of that?
Fair enough.
So, kind of worked, and then everyone realized, like, space is a 3D situation,
a
2D situation.
The Tyranids pulled the immediate excellent gambit of just coming in from above.
Or below. We're still not sure. One of them. It's just coming in from...
In space, directions get weird.
It's coming in from the Z-axis, and everyone was playing on Y and X.
Yeah.
So, scary, but that's...
The galaxy is a 3-dimensional object.
That's the main gist of the people who will leave the Schola Progenium, as well as what time in Commissar school is like, for lack of a better term. What do you think of it?
Awfully poignant, considering we're both going back to school. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess
everyone is
kind of been doing
theoretically.
Theoretically,
in most places in the U.S., most people.
Some people already have careers. They're done with school, and good on them.
If you're
Congratulations.
Of school age and going to school, I guess I must add every caveat. Pedant. Go on.
It's very. What a wonderfully timed video. Yeah. It's giving me a vibe of like I want to book myself into a boarding school and see what it's like.
It won't be like this, hopefully.
Hopefully not.
But hey, I mean, if you wanted this experience, maybe the Navy SEALs
would be my best bet.
Maybe.
I do know their training doesn't kill frequently anymore.
If I remember correctly, the SAS says that you used to have to sign a waiver where it's like, oh, you may not.
You just back. Might.
Straight up by saying you are capable of this, you better hope you are. Mm-hmm. Which is so obviously not great, but so cool.
Hey, yeah.
I think that would be the closest. You'd have to go into special forces to start getting this level
get this level of weird.
I mean, signing up for the army, you have the. It's brutal. I'm not saying it's easy. Mm-hmm. You have the whole gas mask thing. You have the whole getting pushed off a diving board thing. Like it's a lot of stuff.
But there are levels to this. Like
there's no one running around with a hammer.
No.
You know? Does the military for those of you viewing, you're gonna have to let me know about this. Does the basic Army Navy require Hell Week? Or is that purely like do they have a Hell Week?
I don't know what Hell Week is, actually.
I do not know what Hell Week is?
No. I've heard Hell Week in because I've worked like restaurants before, and Hell Week is usually the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas that gets
I would love
busy as hell.
There's something I've been contemplating for a while when it comes to Hell Week. I just have not done. I don't know how to do the legwork to do a video like this. But okay, for those of you, y'all know me. You watch these videos. I've always maintained that the Olympics should have an average person there solely
just there for scale.
No, there for scale for you to understand. Wow, that guy runs at about an average pace for a dad. Mm-hmm. That's the fastest man on earth.
Yeah.
I now see the gulf. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. It also makes some of the sports more entertaining. I'd love to do something like that, but for like Hell Week and stuff. Because I'll be honest, I'm average. I am net average human being. If I could somehow convince the army to send me to Hell Week, just to give a sense of scale for how bad it is. Again, with the caveat of I can leave after and you won't kill me. Please, God, don't kill me. This is on camera. Mm-hmm. I'd do it just so like there's that sense of scale of wow, that broke you in a minute. You made it like all of 5 feet.
What is this?
There's so much.
I assume it's some like very rigorous testing regimen. Physical testing regimen.
Physical, mental. Like if I remember correctly, you have to walk through a fire hose to get to dinner every day. Like you really gotta want it, dude.
I see.
Yeah, it is. Let me Hell Week activities.
Activity.
Yeah. Oh, of course. How could I forget? Who's going to carry the boats? You got to carry a boat. Lots and lots of sit-ups, lots and lots of push-ups, rolling in the sand, like everything. Everything.
This is the what
it
can
is a
you
SEAL
tolerate
thing.
This is the what can you tolerate activity.
Yeah, I would. If any of you are in recruitment in the Navy SEALs and in the media department and would like to subject someone to Hell Week for entertainment purposes,
But please don't kill us.
you have one volunteer. Those might be the words I regret the most. Those might be the words I regret the most in my life. If anyone takes me up on this,
It's okay. Screw it. I'll join you.
but that
I'll probably not get as far. Well, and maybe in some respects I'll get farther than you, and maybe in some respects I will not get nearly as far as you.
the don't kill me caveat wouldn't be needed.
Ah.
Medical personnel are always on hand to evaluate you constantly.
Cool.
And they will just go, you will die next one.
Nope.
Out. Which,
Gone.
Fair enough. I mean, if you have a doctor there on standby, they're very good about looking at a human being and knowing
No.
one more push up and he's gonna die. He just wasn't material. It's fine. He is solidly better than 99% of people at this. There's still probably a job for him somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That is very cool. Oh yes, the whole time, by the way. Oh, this is my favorite part. How could I forget
I
my
assume
favorite
drill sergeant.
How could I forget my favorite part of Hell Week? So, on top of the whole fire hose thing and the fact that you can hear, a lot of it is psychological. I used to be a psych student, so this is super interesting to me. As you're eating, you can hear the fire hoses beating against the walls, so you know that I'm going to have to walk through that when I'm done. And the entire time, there are drill sergeants all around you going, you can quit. You can quit. That is literally, no, look at me right now. You can leave. It's fine. And they mean it. They truly mean it. You are out there doing hundreds of push-ups. Your arms are on fire. And the whole time someone's in your ear going, dude,
You can leave. That's
seriously,
fine.
seriously, you can go home right now. I can get you a plane. We can get you back home. You can still find a decent job. It's perfectly fine to leave right now. And the whole goal is for you to be able to, no, I want this. This is beyond I need to prove something to myself. I want
This is a test of perseverance.
Exactly. So it's think about that. In
How
retrospect.
indomitable is your human spirit?
Exactly. So this could be a very brief video of me walking in, getting enticed to quit day one, and it's like I really could.
Maybe I could.
I really could. I'd love to see it though. But that's just out of
I think this idea sounds both fun and torturous.
It's a week. Well, it wouldn't be just a week because then you'd have to get in physical shape to actually not die day one.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
It'd be more than a week.
It'd probably be a couple months of training.
We will see if
a
that
couple months to a year of training
ever becomes a thing. What I will say is that is the closest I think you're ever going to get here to that. And even then, critically, note how kind that is relative
compared
to the Schola.
I will just beat your spine in, rip it out of you, and then mount it to the door above your dorm.
Like that sounds positively pedestrian compared to this stuff we talked about today. So really, you'd have to join truly third world armed forces where they don't care whether you live or die for you to get that experience. So I don't know. Pick a third world, go join their secret service. Or not their secret service, their version, their special forces.
Listen, I was more on board for the school part, but
hey, you wanted the experience. That's where you can go find it.
not the full experience.
You could go.
Listen,
You could go and be the single most noticeable person in the entire Ugandan military. That would be the best class picture I think I could ask for.
Yeah.
I think so. Just, where's Coda? Where is he in this picture?
The hardest Where's Waldo?
The hardest Where's Waldo. They'd never be able to spot him.
Nope.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
Hey, I mean,
Jesus.
the same could be said for me if I go try and join the Norwegian ski patrol. They'll just spot me from a mile away.
I did see something funny on Twitter.
Now, what are they called? They actually have skiing secret service, not secret service, special forces. I forget the name, but it's
On that topic, I did see something very funny. I guess in a world on Twitter, the fact check this because this could be just not true. Who would spread misinformation on the internet? But I guess in World War II, German soldiers were just taking over U.S. military checkpoints and then wearing their outfits to ambush U.S. soldiers as they were going through them. And so General Patton, who was in charge of this front, said, let's get someone who they literally can't impersonate. And so they just grabbed as many like black soldiers as they could and said to them, if there are any white guys acting suspiciously or have a funny accent, shoot them on sight.
I'm assuming it worked.
I'm also assuming it worked.
I am assuming also I was correct, thanks only to Civ 5. It is Norway's ski infantry.
According to Civ 5.
No. Because of Civ 5, ski warfare is a whole thing. Everyone in that kind of section of the world uses it, right? And every soldier there has to be competent in ski warfare, but Norway's known for it.
Ski warfare.
And so they're like just super tall. Honestly, if I were to go to Norway and join them and learn ski warfare, I'd be the shortest one there.
Because
they're all so
freakishly tall.
Yeah, they're all, well, not freakishly, just tall. It's not like disproportionately tall. It's like the average is 6'1". That is a comfortable height. 6'1" is, I've always maintained, 6'1" is the perfect height. 6'2" is also acceptable. Anything taller in the world is literally no longer built for you. You are now not fitting in certain cars, not fitting through certain doorways. Heaven forbid you try and fly.
Even I'm 6'1.5" and I have problems.
Yeah, so this is the problem. But that brings an end to this episode.
Maybe I could move to Norway and I'd be comfortable.
The world
it'd just be fine.
The world would be built for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be among my people, but not really.
They'd look at you and go, yeah.
Oh, ja.
Well, you're either German or Irish. You are just a mix.
I'm like mutt European. I've never done a 23andMe test, and I kind of don't want to. But according to...
You'd be more thrilling than mine, I'll tell you that much.
According to...
That's my favorite thing. It is black folk and Asian people taking 23andMe and just getting the most boring results. It's like 99% one place, and it's like, great, thank you. Though to be fair, it's like, come on,
what did you expect?
Like, I know, that's why I never will.
As far as I can go back on my family tree, I'm like 1/16 Irish, and the rest is a mix of German, French, and I think Scottish.
We'll post his exact genetic code at some point.
I'm actually not going to do that.
That does bring an end to this episode. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week for a Coda episode.
A me episode.
It is a Coda episode.
Yeah.
And then the poll, so make sure you vote. But yeah, we're going to have a Coda episode.
A me episode with capital letters, capital M, capital E. That's going to be a hint to maybe 5 people who will get it. But
it should be very, very fun. I am excited. As always, thank you for being you. I'm terrified somebody takes me up on that offer, by the way. I don't know if I have CO2 material.
It may just happen. Beware.
I think I might.
Just beware.
But that could be the hubris of man talking.
Just beware.